welcome to Volts and M's first podcast episode. We have two our guests over here, Ermol Rexepi, product manager at Xtech, and we also have Arian Dino, operational manager at Xtech as well. Thank you for coming here.
Thank you for having us.
All right, the first episode will have the questions that are focused on the 12-volt batteries, how these 12-volt batteries have evolved during the recent years, most trends in 2025 that we have noticed. And we're also going to talk about the EV battery platforms on EV vehicles and also what role the 12-volt battery plays in an EV vehicle. The first question that we're going to discuss will be how have the 12-volt batteries evolved and what are some trends that we see regarding these batteries?
In these newer vehicles right now, the 12-volt battery is being asked a lot more than it used to in the past. Instead of just starting the vehicle, now it's responsible for running a lot of the modules and everything else and all the safety systems that the vehicles have. So with the evolution of the 12-volt batteries into the AGM and the enhanced flooded batteries, they're able to manage that load.
We do see a shift from lead-acid batteries to lithium-ion batteries, right?
Not lithium-ion yet.
Okay.
But yes, there is some new lithium-ion batteries in the 12-volt.
And these changes, obviously, disregarding the cost that you probably might save or might not, maybe the life cycles of the battery?
Right, so they're able to last longer than your regular lead-acid batteries. So the AGM ones, they have more cycle time. And then EFBs are also up there with the cycle time as well.
Okay. And any differences that you've seen in the terms of when servicing these equipments, what have you noticed on these batteries from some type of batteries? So as we said, lead acid, lithium-ion, AGM, or those. Something that you have noticed? Maybe some batteries hold their cycle more, or they need to charge them a longer time than some others.
Well, one thing that comes off right away on the differences is when we service these batteries out the field, we see a lot of flooded batteries that give dealerships issues rather than AGM or EFB batteries. So the technology has evolved for better, coming up with AGMs and EFBs, but to put it in a nutshell, that's what we've seen on the field. And as far as charging, it's not much difference there.
Okay.
They still take, like we said before, that every battery acts different when it comes to testing and charging. But these are what we've noticed.
When we say giving troubles to the manufacturers of the dealerships, what kind of troubles we're talking about when we're talking about these kinds of batteries?
It is just how much load and how much stress these batteries are being put under prior to the sale of the vehicle, when they're sitting out on the lot or anything like that. Mm-hmm. You do have to take care of these batteries, especially to charge them up at least once a month to make sure that they're charged and that they're staying healthy. Because if you're putting a big, even a small draw over a long period of time, that could ultimately end up damaging the battery.
Okay.
And that's part of the trend that we're seeing is that a lot of these newer batteries tend to go bad a little bit quicker when they haven't been taken care of.
Does it have to do maybe because now batteries have to maintain and do a lot more in the recent vehicles rather than the old vehicles?
Yeah. And one thing what I was going to say is when I used to service cars, the most trending thing that we saw with customers that would not drive their vehicles a lot, maybe once or twice a week, and I'm talking about the older generation, we saw a lot of the flooded batteries that we had to replace coming in because one morning they went to start their car and wouldn't start, even though the battery to them was new. So,
but will the life of these batteries be longer in a general term than the old batteries, or do they have a shorter lifespan?
Generally longer lifespan.
Right.
It all depends on how the battery is treated at the end of the day.
Of course.
If it's put under normal stress, so you're driving the vehicle every day, you're letting the alternator charge up the car enough.
So battery care obviously is important.
Correct.
And I do believe that I've heard that if you take more recent short trips, it might be more damaging to the battery because it doesn't give enough time for the battery to recharge. rather
So
than
when-
just taking longer trips.
When you start an ICE vehicle, your internal combustion engine, that takes a lot of current away from the battery, and the alternator is not charging at a high current. So when you're driving, let's say 5 minutes to the grocery store and then coming back, you're actually taking more charge out of the battery than
Okay.
putting back in it. So it is recommended that you do actually just give the battery enough time to charge up again.
One important thing too is stressing these batteries more in the winter time. So all
Yes.
the colder states will act differently than the warmer states, for example.
Okay.
So,
So obviously, yeah, you would expect that you would need more battery care towards the places that have colder weather.
yeah.
Okay. And switching a little bit, going to the second segment of our podcast today, we're talking about a little bit of the 12-volt, EV platform batteries for EV vehicles. Something that we have noticed in EV vehicles regarding the battery lifespan, battery cost, and all that. I know that we've gone a long way since the EV vehicles started, but where have you seen with the EV vehicles? Where are we currently? Can we do better? Obviously, we can do better, as we go. But what are some trends that you have noticed in 2025?
Some of the trends, of course, with the EV vehicles, they have gone higher in voltage, so
Okay.
like 400, 800, even 1,000-volt battery packs, which, of course, they've added a lot more modules in there, but then in turn added a lot more weight.
More weight, okay.
But
Vehicle weight.
yeah, vehicle weight.
So how would they affect in the vehicle overall?
Well, the weight has to do a lot with the range as well.
Okay.
So the heavier the
The
vehicle,
heavier the vehicle, the
heavier
less
the-
range, it will use more of the power
Definitely.
of the battery.
Yeah.
Understandable.
Definitely.
So when we talk about the EV vehicles, where are we currently? Would you say prefer more of a hybrid currently, or would you in the future maybe switch to the EV, or does it have to do with the infrastructure?
It all depends on your lifestyle.
Okay.
Honestly, so living in the city or when you're not taking any longer trips or anything like that, it is very, very convenient to have an EV vehicle,
Okay.
especially when you can charge it at home. But then, of course, once the infrastructure starts to get better, then of course the trend towards an EV vehicle could move along that way, and more people could.
And I would assume that the weather factor will still be even in an EV vehicle.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep, and there has been some trends, of course, with these EV vehicles that even in colder states during the winter months, that range does drop.
Okay.
Not significantly, but it does drop.
And what are we talking about on average? Well, per your knowledge, how many miles? We said what, 350
Well,
miles?
that was the rating on the F-150.
on that specific vehicle, right?
The F-150.
But on
Lightning.
average, because I've read that it's still not a long average of length that you can go. You have to charge your car. Let's say if you're driving somewhere in a long trip, you're gonna have to charge them every 4 hours or so.
Well, and that's why they don't recommend
For long trips?
For long trips,
Okay.
obviously, the infrastructure is not there to where you can stop and charge it really
Obviously.
quick. You have to sit there and wait for hours. But
Yeah,
funny,
That's a great point. Like, how long would you have to wait for the full
Yeah.
charge of the vehicle?
So they don't. When you're taking a long trip, if you do map it out to where you can find level 3 or level 4 chargers, you can minimize that charging time because you do get most of the range up to 80%.
Okay.
And it is very quick to charge up to 80%, considering the charge time.
Okay.
And then, of course, 80 to 100 is going to take a lot longer. But charging it to 80% does take it. They have come a long way to charge up to 80% really quickly.
Okay. So
So-
for our viewers, level 3 and level 4 charging, what does that mean?
The amount of power that it's
Okay.
able to push through.
The higher the level, the higher the amount of power that you're able to push through.
Yes.
Okay. And then remaining in the EV vehicles, obviously, not a lot of people know, but there's also a 12-volt battery located in the EV vehicles.
Yes.
Why is that?
So the 12-volt battery in an EV vehicle, that plays a different role in a way than your internal combustion engine vehicles. Since you're not cranking an engine to start it, the 12-volt battery is responsible for maintaining a lot of the electronics in the car.
Okay.
So all your safety systems too, like your radars and your radio, your door locks, everything like that, and it's actually being charged, I believe, through the high voltage battery as well. So the high voltage battery is acting as an alternator in a way.
Okay.
So these 12-volt batteries, they don't need to be rated high in cold cranking amps, but they do need to be rated high in the amount of amp hours that they're able to produce.
Okay.
And what Irmo mentioned earlier too, they're very much so responsible for all the computer modules in the vehicle to keep them running. We've seen it when they're actually working on a battery pack. So the whole battery pack is completely out of the vehicle, but they
Okay.
still have the 12-volt battery still running to the vehicle
Oh, I see.
with a charger maintaining it, so it can keep all the
System running.
the system running.
Okay. Okay. So obviously the servicing of the 12-volt battery will be the same way. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter if it's a 12-volt vehicle, EV vehicle, or not. And I was gonna extend just a little bit because I know that the trend is going upward regarding the electric vehicles and their use. How will the service of these vehicles and the service of the battery going to continue? Like, what's the process?
Well, right
Obviously, we have to be very careful.
Yes.
So, what is the process of servicing these vehicles?
So right now we're in the early stages of the EVs.
Right.
Okay, so even the actual manufacturers are still studying how are they going to handle these battery packs. So a lot of them have taken different approaches, different directions. Some of them, when the battery pack fails, they just drop and replace
Okay.
for a lot of these vehicles, and some just
Yeah,
decided
but
to.
it's not a permanent solution because obviously, when the use is a lot, like what are we going to do with all these
Correct.
batteries?
So, and some of them have decided to actually work on these battery
Okay.
packs, and that's when tools come in play, where you need to operate and
Okay.
repair these battery packs. So,
So when we talk about tools, we're talking about chargers, dischargers of the battery pack.
Yep.
We're talking about what else?
Leak
Like leak
testers.
testers.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Okay, very
there's a lot
important.
of things that are that need to happen in the repair portion of a EV battery pack. So when they first determine that, let's say one of the modules is bad, they do have to open up the battery pack, replace the module inside, and then the new module needs to be at the same level of charge as the rest of the
As
modules.
the rest, yes. Okay.
So there is a module balancer that we provide to make sure that that module is at the same voltage as the other modules
Okay,
before it's
interesting.
put back into the car. Then once the battery pack has been fully sealed again, you do need to make sure that it's sealed correctly
Properly, okay.
and properly, and that's where our leak tester would come in to confirm that it's sealed properly. And if it's not, we also do have our hydrogen option in the EVLT HD that you can find where the leak is.
Okay. Interesting.
and it's so important when you're sealing that battery back up. It's so important to test it to make sure there's no leaks, because there's been cases where when it was closed back up, and I'm talking about the early years when EVs first got introduced. There were cases where water got into these battery packs, and the vehicle completely failed in the middle of the road. So,
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe this is a risk. Obviously, using these vehicles during winter, or during even rain, like as you
Yeah.
said, water goes in, and you're just stuck.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, they're rated to a certain degree, right? Once everything is sealed properly. But if it's not sealed properly and things start to get inside the battery pack, that's when things can go wrong.
Okay.
So
Alright.
they have to make sure that it's sealed properly, and the proper training has to go
And
through.
safety,
Safety.
overall, because
Yeah.
you're dealing with something that obviously, as you said, even OEMs, even to them, is something new, and we're learning more about it as we go. But safety is one of the most important things about
Safety
these
is the num-
technicians.
Yep. It's the number one concern because at minimum you're having 400 volts running through that
Exactly.
battery pack.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's very, very high voltage, and it can
It's not.
instantly.
I mean, safety overall is important, but it's not the same as dealing with a 12-volt battery. And you, as you said, you are dealing with
For all the
the
reasons
full-
that Irmo mentioned, it's very, very important.
And then, of course, the transportation aspect of it. When a battery pack is being transported from one place to the other,
Okay.
it does need to have a very low state of charge, so below 30%. transportation or
safety.
and storage modes. And of course, we do provide that as well. We have full battery pack chargers and dischargers.
So to add on that, why would you need to transport a battery pack?
From the manufacturer
From
to
the
the
manufacturer
okay.
to
Yeah.
the dealer, or
or even the whole vehicle when it's getting
Yeah.
transported.
Right, even the whole vehicle needs to
Yeah.
be discharged
Correct.
to 30%.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when it leaves manufacturer going to the dealer, it's not fully charged.
And then when he goes to the dealer, then they have to recharge him
Charge
back
it
again to
Yeah.
the. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that will conclude our first episode. Thank you, Arian, and thank you, Ermol, for coming here and having this nice conversation. We will see together, and thank you for all the viewers. We will go on the next episode. We'll talk about battery maintenance, degradation, causes, and prevention. And with that episode, we're going to have the same guest. So we'll see you guys next time.
Thank
See
you.
you next time.
See you.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching.